and you end it up well successfully with us. In your mighty name we have prayed. Amen.
Thank you so much.
Amen.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Kofi. Yeah. So once again, I welcome. Today's in today's session, we'll be looking at modules, discussions on module 3 and then 4. Module 3, we learned about supervision and then delegation, and then module 4 was on conflict management. So what we're going to do today is to be able to digest these two concepts and be able to learn lessons from it that we can immediately apply in our various settings. Okay. So we're going to start with module 3, which is supervision and delegation. Then there were a number of stuff that we learned from it, and then we're going to exactly what we're going to be doing. So on that, I would like to call on Mr. Kudeni. Mr. Kudeni, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Kudeni. Mr. Kudeni, if you can unmute yourself.
Afternoon.
Yes, please, how are you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, please. Please, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Great. Okay.
Can you hear me now? I'm good.
Yes. Yes. I think it's clear now. Yes. So we'd like to yes. I'd like to share a little bit about the module 3, the supervision and then delegation. If you could sort of like give a snapshot of the module and then what you learn and some of the lessons and applications which we can apply. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Mr. Hussein?
Yes, please.
Okay. I want to start with delegating.
All right.
Yes. For me, I've learned a lot from the lesson, and then I've seen aspects of it being applicable in my workplace and then in my daily life. I see delegating to be a very powerful tool. And then when we use it very well, it is going to make us very effective in our workplaces as leaders. So for delegating, it's simply assigning a task or a job that you, the leader, should have done or should have accomplished to a subordinate or to people around you to also partake so that you can achieve the same goal as quickly as possible and very effective. That is how I see delegating to be. So in delegating, there are certain things we also need to take into consideration. It is a tool that also motivates our subordinates or people under us. Anytime we ask them to do something or accomplish a task, it motivates them and they feel like, okay, I'm being recognized, I'm being counted. So it draws them closer to you, the leader, so that at that point, you'll be able to direct them what to do and what not to do. For me, in my field of work, I have used delegating in so many ways to achieve so many things in my life.
Great.
One of them is
Hello, Mr. Kudeni. Hello, Mr. Kudeni. I think your mic is. Mr. Kudeni, we can't hear you now. Hello, Mr. Kudeni. Mr. Kude, if you could position yourself a little bit, your microphone is not responding. Okay. Yeah. So I think we have a little challenge with Mr. Kude needs mic. Okay, so we're going to move on. Once he is able to sort it, then we'll revert back to him. We'll share some very important lessons in the field as far as the application of delegations is concerned. But I think we unfortunately lost him on track. But we'll come back to him once he's able to do that. Okay. Yeah. Let me call on Cynthia. Hello, Cynthia. Hello, Cynthia, if you could unmute your microphone. Hello, Cynthia. I think we're not getting Cynthia yet. I'd like to have another person share at least what they learned from the module supervision and then delegation, and then to also share with us some of the practical lessons which they are applying to on the job. Yeah. Let me call on Kingsford. Hello, Kingsford. Yes, Kingsford.
Hello, Sir Hussein. I'm here.
Yes. Okay. Can you share with us some of the lessons that you've learned as far as this module is concerned, and some practical, application lessons which you've utilized before? I think Mr. Kudin.
Yeah, yes, I'm back. Sorry for the interruption.
Yes. All right. So, Kingsford, I'll come back to you, please. Kindly continue, Mr. Kudin.
Yes, I was saying that to delegate makes us very efficient and effective.
Hello?
Yes, Kingsford.
Hello?
Yes, Kingsford, I'll come back to you. But fortunately, we have Mr. Kudin back, yes. So we'll allow him to finish. Thank you.
So
yes.
I was trying to say that we as leaders, we have a job to complete. We have an assignment to execute. But because maybe the workload or the resources available to us, we cannot do it to meet the set time. We try to apportion part of our tasks to other colleagues at our workplace so that we can achieve the results on time. So that is what basically delegation means.
So you, the leader who is delegating, you have to make sure that whatever resource that you should have needed to complete that same task should be made available to the person you are delegating to complete the task. One thing I've seen that demoralize our followers or people who are working under us is that anytime we ask them to complete a task or to do any assignment, we, the leaders, fail to provide the necessary resources and the motivation for them. Okay. Because the person knows that this task is for my boss. And anytime my boss does it, maybe he get A, B, C. That is motivation that goes with that same task you are asking him or her to do. But when he is doing that task, most of the time, they don't get the motivation the boss should have gotten. So it means it demoralizes them. It pushes them away. And that is one thing I have realized in my work as a leader. Anytime I assign somebody and I'm not ready to give the resources and the motivation, you see that the task is not achieved to perfection. So what I want to advise here is that we as leaders, anytime we are delegating somebody to do something, we should make sure the resources and the motivation that accompanies it should be assigned to the person. And that will be an excellent job done for us. And that, let me conclude with this. Yeah. Sometimes the people who are working under us are always ready to work. But when we don't pull them in, they will sit down and look at us. I remember one of our departments, I overheard one lady saying, let me put this in tree. Say omame nyehwe enti so meti ho bosome so a na makwaji makachia. You could see that this particular person is ready to take on every task that she is given. But because the leader sees that, okay, if I give this task to this person, it must go with some kind of resources, some kind of motivation, some kind of this thing. So I will just do it myself. I think when we do that way, it means we are not mentoring, we are not coaching, and we are not trying to mentor people who will take over our place when we are not there. So to me, one thing I've seen is that I've used delegating to achieve so many things. And the shortcoming of most leaders is that we delegate without providing the necessary resources and the motivation to people whom we are assigning this particular task to. So I will end here, and as we go along, I'll come in with so many things concerning the supervision. I don't know if I could take that one too.
We'll come to that one. Yeah. Thank you so much, Sekudin, for that input. Yeah. I'd like to call on Kingsford. Kingsford, if you are ready to also throw a little bit light on what you learned so far from the model as far as the delegation and then is concerned. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yes, please go ahead.
I was saying good night to add up a little bit to what Mr. Kudin had just said. I think, yes, I said I just want to add up to a bit to what Mr. Kudin had just said. I have a bad connection. I don't know if you are hearing me.
Yes, yeah, clear.
So, great. So adding up to what he was saying, yes, so delegation is a way of what? Empowering your co-workers That is, in an organization, what we should know is that the people we are working with are resources that we have at our disposal. So it is up to us as leaders or managers to make good use, the maximum use of those resources. And if you can make a maximum or greater use of those resources that you have at your disposal, one strategy you can use well is delegation. So when you delegate, it's a way of motivating your co-workers or your employees. They sort of feel valuable. They sort of feel that, oh, once a work is being given to me to do, oh, it means that people feel that I am valuable. I have some work that, or I have some value that I can add up something to the organization to help the organization achieve its goal. And then when we're able to do that, you realize that people are able to come out with the ability, the talents within people. That's something we don't even know. It is upon delegation that you get to know that people have some innate ability. There are certain talent and skills that they can bring on board to help with the organization. Oftentimes, when we are leaders, because our intention is to ensure that the work is done well, sometimes we sort of want to do everything ourselves, especially sometimes when we don't trust our co-workers very well. We sort of want to do everything ourselves without realizing that other people that we have on board are equally incapable of doing something to help. So when we delegate, we tap into the resources that people have. And then when we do that, it comes with so many advantages. When you delegate, it frees you, the leader or manager, ample time to think of things, to think of other complex things that you wouldn't have gotten time to do. After delegation, you then free up some ample time to be able to think strategically, think of complex things that you can bring on board to help with the organization. One person, you can't do it alone. Until you delegate, you will not be able to do. So delegation has so many importance, or it comes with so many advantages. And then when you do that, people feel empowered. People feel motivated that, yes, they can also do something to help. So we need to make or tap into the resources that we have at our disposal by delegating, so that each one in the organization can bring out their best in them to help in the overall achievement of the organizational goal. So that, as I was saying, we free up time to think of complex things, to think of strategic things that can help the organization to move forward. I'll pause here so that other people might want to also come in. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Hussein, can I come in again? Can I come in again?
Yes, please. Yes, sir.
Hello, Mr. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
One thing I must add is that sometimes some leaders also have the fear to delegate people to do certain things if they don't know the competence of the person they are delegating. I remember when I took office as academic coordinator, processing examinations and all those kind of things. I was a little bit careful because it is a field that is so delicate. You are handling complex data and all those kind of things. So for the initial stage, I didn't want anyone to get closer. I didn't want to delegate anyone to do any aspect of the work that I was doing until I started coaching some people that at a point in time, I started asking them to do certain things. So what I would say is that sometimes right from the beginning, if the leader is not so sure of the person he is delegating, sometimes he's a little bit skeptical, wanted to, depending on the task that he wants to assign to the person. Until he knows that, okay, this person, I've tried one or two things. Okay, let me start. So for some leaders, for me, I will start delegating people, but it will go with coaching and then supervision for the initial stage. Then when I see that the person is now okay, then I'll now leave the person to have the freedom to operate as I coach the person along. So sometimes to delegating people you are not sure of, as the models were saying, people you don't trust, it also becomes very challenging. So that is what I want to add on the part of the leaders.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Kudeni, for those inputs. Yes. Yeah. Let me call on Mr. Asante. Good evening.
Good evening, Hussein.
Yes. I like to have your thoughts on what have been discussed so far, delegating and then supervision, and then what some of the practical things we can learn from the model, and then some of the practical experiences which you can also share with us. Yes.
I think for the most part, it's been said by the previous contributors as to what they are. So for me, practically, what I've learned is that you actually, as a leader, you actually need to take that responsibility upon yourself to test all the people you work with, give them a chance to prove themselves. Of course, when you begin with, you are not going to give them delegate tasks, but you need to start with something that is simple so you get to know them better. And as you grow them, and they also get to realize that there's a lot more they can do, especially if you combine the supervision bit where you motivate them and inspire them, you'll be surprised what they come up with. So that's, I've realized that I've not been doing that as much as I'd love to, but with the very enlightening module that we had, I've learned a lot. So I intend, okay, so I need to give a practical example. Okay, so previously in my department, we were always asked to put together at end of year performance reviews. And my past heads, what they normally do, they put it together themselves, even though we have subunits, they and then have to scramble and put things together to present. But what I realized that if you give the various heads of that unit that responsibility, you not only make them responsible, but then they get to also even understand the people they work with. And then the supervision and delegation goes down to even the last person, even the cleaner gets to know that they have a responsibility to do something and know that it's all contributing to the bigger picture. So I've realized that it's actually very important that as a leader, you make sure you do it, the delegation and the supervision, and you get it right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for these practical insights. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. We'd like to move on to the next slide, which is this is a quote from Richard Wilkinson. And this is what he says concerning performance evaluation. He says that often in performance review, we spend too much time thinking about ways to give critical feedback and not enough time talking about strengths. We are all at our best when we are working from our strengths. I'd like us to discuss this particular assertion of Richard Wilkinson, if we agree or any other view that we have as far as what he's talking about is concerned with respect to performance evaluations. Yeah. I like those that would like to contribute, kindly show by hand, then we can be able to call you. Yeah. But first, let me start with Infinix. I see Infinix Hot 8. It's not showing by name, so I'll call the mobile number that way. Infinix. Infinix Hot 8. If you could unmute your mic and then introduce yourself so that we could know you. Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes. Yes, please go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. Please, your name, please, so that I can.
Thank you. I'm first.
I think the line is
Hello,
breaking.
I'm first.
Festus. Did you say Festus?
Yeah,
I think
first.
the line. Festus. Yeah. Okay.
Please. Let me position myself in generator. I think the network is quite bad.
Kindly position yourself, and then I'll call you back. Yes, the line is breaking a little bit. Yes. Okay. All right. So whilst he's doing that, let me go to yes, Mr. Asante, your hand is up. Yes.
Previously I got to really get very worried, especially when it comes to time for your supervisors to evaluate you. It's like that is the point where they get back at you for, in quotes, if you misbehave, because then the focus, that they are going to mark you down. And since in our system, in the government system, that's what is used for promotions. So if you misbehave, in quotes, they feel you are misbehaving. They just keep tap, and then when it's up to your evaluation, all they are concerned with are your weaknesses, and just to keep on marking you and letting you know that you think you don't know anything. So that used to be, it's a very fearful and frightening thing with evaluations. But like the Richard said, the quote you just said, where I have learned that when you let people realize that they have a lot of strength in them, they tend to overdo themselves. And sometimes they even get surprised as to how much they're actually able to do just because you focused on their strength. So I actually agree with what Richard is saying, because in my practical life, I've realized that when you evaluate people and your focus is on strength, you get them doing so much, and in all the department gets better. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, for that very insightful contribution. Yeah, so it's not about getting back at the staff, but drawing the strength within them. Infinix, if your line is clear, let's hear you. Yeah, Infinix. Yeah, I think he's still trying to do that. Okay, let me call on Stella. Yes, Stella. Stella, good evening. If you could unmute your mic. Hello, Stella. Hello, Stella. Okay. I think she's still trying to do that. Okay. Let's hear from Simon. Simon, good evening. Hello, Simon. Hello, Simon. Yes. Yes, Simon, I'd like to have your thought on this quote by Richard. Simon, your line is not so clear. Hello, Simon. Your line is not so clear. Kindly position yourself a little bit. It's still breaking, Simon. Kindly position yourself and then I'll call you back. Okay. Yeah. Let me hear from Galaxy. I see Galaxy J2. Galaxy J2. It's not also named by, there's no name to that. I see Galaxy J2. If you could unmute yourself and let's have your thoughts concerning Richard's assertion on performance evaluation. Okay, so the Galaxy J2, we're not getting him yet. Okay. Okay, let me call Reverend. Reverend, good evening. Good evening, Reverend. Yeah, good evening, Reverend. Hello, Reverend. The line is not so clear. Hello, Reverend. It's still not clear. Reverend, if you could position yourself, then you'd unmute again and then we can hear you more clearly. Hello, Reverend. Okay, it's not so clear. It's not so clear. So let me go back to Simon, if he's been able to do that. Hello, Simon. Yeah, Simon, if you could unmute your mic and then let's hear you. Let's hear your thoughts on this assertion by Richard. Okay, we still cannot hear you. Kindly position yourself a little bit. I'll get back to you. Yes. Okay, Kingsford. Kingsford, your hand is up. Yes.
Yeah, I want to say something on that assertion. So if you look at what he's saying here and that, so the inference I can make from it is that, so ideally, in performance review, we are supposed to be building on the strength of people instead of what? Looking at the weakness of people. But in our part of the world, mostly that is what mostly happens. We tend to hammer more on the weakness, on the shortfalls of the person than to build on the strength of the person. Just as Sister Sandra said that's where they want to get back to you, let's say as managers, as your leaders. That's where mostly they want to get back to you. But ideally, that is not supposed to be the case. So I will infer from it that you want to say that in performance review, ideally, the most important thing that we have to do is to rather build on the strength of the person, so that even if one or two things didn't go very well, all right, you shouldn't be building, you shouldn't be looking at that one. Rather, be looking at the bigger picture by building, by consolidating on the strength of the person, so that this person keeps on getting motivated to be able to continue to perform at his or her maximum or best level, than to look at the few errors or the few mistakes. We are not saying that, fine, don't seek to address the weaknesses or the errors or the mistakes, but then don't let that one overshadow the strength or the performance of the person. Rather, let the strength of the person work to overcome the weaknesses and then the errors of the person, so that you're able to make the better use or greater use of the person's abilities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kingsford, for that. It's more about leveraging and then maximizing the strength. Okay, that's very good. Yeah. Infinite, if your line is okay, just show by hand, then I can invite you to speak. Okay. So what I want to do in moving forward is from the quote that we just deliberated on from Richard. The question here now is, how can we help employees build on their strength? What are some of the strategies that we can use to help employees build on their strength based on the lessons that we've also learned from the model? What are some of the things that we can do to help employees or the staff build on their strengths? I'm going to call on Kingsley Boachi. Mr. Kingsley. Okay, so whilst Kingsley is... Yes.
Hello.
Please,
yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. I can hear you now.
With regards to how you can help employees build on their strength, yes. I would say that most of the time, just like we said with the previous slides, when it comes to performance review, we tend to look at the things that the employee is not doing well or the weakness of the person. But when you realize that eventually everybody has something that he does well. So if somebody performs well, he is good at a specific area, we should let the person know this is your strength. This is something that we really appreciate you doing, because you do it with extra perfectness. So with someone like that, you have to let the person know this is your strength, and we really appreciate how you did this one. So it would be great if you can build more on, or you can continue doing this and make it a perfect. And also how you can help draw on the employee strength to benefit the team. Just like I said, if in a team environment, if somebody is good at a particular aspect, we let the whole team knows that this person is really good at this. So with that one, the person will build much more on that area, and eventually, when it comes to team in general, with team is more of a building block, and we have each individual in the team is part of a block that specializes in an aspect of it. So if someone has strength in a specific area, it helps the team, everybody identify their strength, and in more ways than one, the team becomes strong, and it also helps the organization move forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kingsley, for that insight. I'd like to call Naza. Yeah, Naza, kindly unmute your mic and then share your thoughts. Yes. Yes, Naza, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, please.
Yes,
Go
thank you,
ahead.
sir, for the opportunity. Building on employee strength, I believe my senior brother was also talking about the fact that identifying the specific areas where the employee is good at and then motivating that aspect. And I believe that in most of us as leaders has really lacked this kind of this sense of motivation. I believe that if you find out that your staff or your employee is good at a particular place, you should be motivated more in order to make sure that the person stick to what he's doing and he grows faster. So I believe that the same thing is what I was trying to share from the beginning. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Naza, for that insight. Yeah. Kofi, your hand is up. Please go ahead. Can you unmute? Yeah. And then go ahead.
Okay. Naza, please, can you hear me?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah, I also want to add that in building employee strength, it is proper to often organize regular in-service training for staff.
So trainings.
So, yes, regular in-service training. So in the in-service training, employees can share ideas that may enhance other staff's performances going forward. And it will also empower them to learn new skills to build their confidence. There are sometimes we can also organize workshops whereby changing trends are also taught, and then new things are also taught there, whereby it will also boost and help employees' performances. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kofi, for that contribution. Yes. Great call on Infinix. Yes, Infinix, if your line is clear, we'd like to have your thoughts on this. Yes. Then I'll come to Kingsford. I see your hand up. Yeah, Infinix. Yes. Please go ahead. Yeah, please go ahead, Infinix. Infinix, you are unmuted. Kindly go ahead. I think we still have a little challenge with getting Infinix online. Okay. Yeah, Kingsford. Yes. Okay, make your contributions.
Hello. I was saying, yeah. Please, can I be heard?
Yes, please. Please go ahead.
So, yeah, so adding up to the subject on board, yeah, just as they have already said, I think in building on employee strength, we should be able to also provide constructive feedback. So you provide them with feedback with the spirit of helping them, not to demoralize them, so that they continue to do the more. So in doing so, let them know that, oh, I believe A and B, you did this so well, but I feel you can still do better by doing A, B, or C, or by adding up A, B, or C. And then just as one of our brothers was saying that engage them in workshop and in-service training. Yes, one of the two that I think when I read, I came to know is that one of the effective tools you can use to build on employee strength is to value and model continuous learning. Yes, they are doing well, but then there's no limit to what people can do when they keep on learning or when they keep on improving themselves. There's always room for improvement. So provide with that they needed training, model the needed continual training that they need, provide the needed guidance that they need, the needed resources that they need to aid in their performance, provide them with those things, and keep on motivating and inspiring them so that they keep on doing the more and to continue to utilize their strength to the maximum height. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kingsford, for that contribution. Let's hear from Bright, Mr. Chum.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Chum. Yeah.
Please, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah. What I also want to say is the question is, how are we going to help the team members to be able to build their strength, what they can do better or what they can do well?
Yes.
I think the earlier people spoke has talked a lot about those things. But then what I want to add is, being a leader, you don't have to wait until you're going to performance review time where you're going to write so many things. You are with the people. You're always there going with the people. And so you should know the strength and the weaknesses of the team members. If there's someone does something right, it's good. You call the person, you draw the person's attention to what he has done. It's good, very good. So she keep on doing it. So that will motivate the person very well, that even my leader is looking at me. And so if the person also does something wrong, you call the person and then you talk to the person in a very nice way. And that will still tell the person that, yes, my leader is really watching me. So when that thing happens, it makes the person very happy. It strengthens him. You'll be able to do much and do more. So we don't wait until the time we want to evaluate them that we bring about all these things. And that will really help a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chum. Thank you so much, Mr. Chum. I like to call on Reverend. Reverend, I would like to have your thoughts on how can we draw on the employee's strength to benefit the team and then the organizations. Yeah, we've explored some of the ways by which we can be able to build on their strengths. We mentioned training, constructive feedback, and then also modeling continuous, learning and so on and then so forth. Now that we've been able to do that, how do we now channel it in such a way that it should benefit the team or the unit that they are in, or the department or the organization as a whole? How do we go about it? Yeah. Reverend, if you could unmute your mic, let's have your thoughts on that.
Yeah, in fact, I've been facing some challenges, but yeah, normally there is no one that has no strength.
Okay.
Everybody has some strengths, but it's like we are not utilizing them. And until the person acts, you wouldn't see the strength in that person. So sometimes if people are not responding to certain issues, you just have to call them, encourage them to talk, and what they bring out, you marvel, and you realize that yeah, people have a lot of ideas, except that they don't have that boldness to voice them out. So yeah, you can encourage people's participation, and you will realize what they have. Then you can build upon them. Yeah.
Okay. So encouraging participation.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Active participation is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Reverend, for that. Let me call on Mansoura. Yeah, Mansoura, if you can unmute, we'd like to have your thoughts on how do we now leverage on the strength we've identified to help boost the organization or the team's effectiveness. Hello, Mansoura.
Hello?
Yes.
Who says, can you hear me?
Yes, please. Yeah, please go ahead.
See you, I just came. I just joined the so when we move to the next topic, I'll contribute, okay?
All right. Okay.
All right, so yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Read it and bring your contribution.
Yeah. Galaxy J2. Galaxy J2. Kindly unmute so that I can have your thoughts on how do we leverage strength that we've identified in the staff to maximize organizational effectiveness or the team's effectiveness. Galaxy J2. Then we are not getting Galaxy J2. Hannah.
Yes, and I know the time.
Okay. Okay, I see Infinite Hot 9. Yeah, your hand is up. Yes. Please go ahead.
Yes. Yes, this is Richard.
Oh, Richard.
Richard.
Richard Cote.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
please go ahead. Yeah, I get you now.
Yes, I think putting them to task, that is, and putting the employees to task, it's a very, very important step in the right direction to be able to draw them the best of strength. So it's like if we delegate an individual the task that we as the supervisors would have been able to do on our own, it will give them the opportunity of the fact that they are also able to do something quite at a higher stage than they ought to. I think how we can draw employees' strength is by giving them tasks that are probably a little bit difficult. Yes, and then we can assess their strength like that.
Okay. So we give them challenging tasks that would stretch them.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Richard, for that insight. Yes. Okay. I'd like us to move to our next slide, which is how do we share concerns about performance issues? Most of the time when staff are not have performance challenges, how do we go about it in the performance appraiser? If a staff is not pulling his or her weight, for example, how do we go about
how do you address it? Or how do you share? Is it share?
Yeah. How do you share concerns about performance issues? Yeah. Cynthia, let me have your thoughts on this.
Feedback me if you're not.
Hello.
Yes. Hello, Cynthia.
Hello, Hussein.
Yes.
Okay, so from my experience, once I observe this, I draw the employees' attention. I sit them down, and then I ask them what the challenges may be, and then how I can assist them to overcome those challenges so that their performance would improve. So that's how I go about it.
Okay. All right. So you sit with them and then try to know their challenges. Okay. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for that insight. Okay. I'd like to call on Hannah. Yeah. Hannah, would like to have your thoughts on this sharing concerns about performance issues. How do you go about it? Hello, Hannah. Hello, Hannah. Today we have quite some technology challenges. Okay, let me go to Patience. Hello, Patience. Patience, if you could unmute, let's have your thought on how you share concerns as far as performance issues are concerned.
Hi. Hello.
Yes, Patience, please go ahead. Hello, Patience, please go ahead. Hello, Patience. Okay, kindly position yourself a little bit. I think your network is fluctuating. Okay. Just position yourself and then I'll come back to you. Okay. Yeah. Mr. Kudeni. Hello, Mr. Kudeni.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hussein.
Yes. We'd like to have your thoughts on how to share performance concerns as far as performance issues is concerned. And then if you can share with us some practical experiences and how you've been able to resolve it. Yes.
Oh, okay. You know, sometimes it's very unpleasant when you are talking about somebody's performance, especially when it has got to do with a person's weaknesses.
Okay.
But as a leader, you should say it anyway. But as one of the participants said, but in a way that will not offend the person so much. For me, one thing I do to share concern about their performance is what has been discussed earlier on. I start with the person's strength.
Okay.
I appreciate all the person's hard working and all those kind of things he has been doing to support the institution and all those kind of things. So you see that the person feels good from the initial stage. And as it goes on, then I will now hit right the point, but I have realized this kind of things, which I try to draw the person closer to a point where he will now appreciate that, okay, my boss has seen this, but he's not using it against me, but trying to help me come out of this particular weaknesses. When we do this, you see that the person will actually appreciate that, okay, this is my weaknesses. These are the areas I'm not performing well. But how my boss has been able to approach it, it has made me feel comfortable, and I will work at it. Recently, I did a performance appraisal, and I gave my the person a lot of opportunity to express himself. He wrote a lot of things about all his strengths and all those kind of things. Now, when he came and we started discussing, I appreciate, oh, this is true, you have done well, this is that, this is that, this is that. Then I went to a particular aspect of his weakness and I pointed out to him. He went straight and told me, boss, this is true. I'll change from it. I've realized it myself. And since then, I've seen a great improvement in his approach to everything that he is doing. So when we normally start from the strength of the person and drawing the person closer to his weaknesses, you see that the person himself will appreciate it so much. You will see that you don't want his downfall, but rather want to help him lift up and perform better in the institution. So for me, this is what I use. I'll start from appreciating the person, motivating the person, saying all the good things about the person, but I'll hit the nail right on the head where I am driving to. And this is what I've been doing, and it works perfectly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kudi, for these contributions. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, Naza, your hand is up. Kindly unmute and then make your contributions. Yes.
Thank you both for the opportunity again to speak on this particular topic. It's something has been running through my mind. When Mr. Kudeni was talking, he said addressing the person first of all from his strength. So you address the person from his strength and carry the strength, try to at least boost that area. Then you now hit into the main concern, your concern about his behavior or performance. I also believe that after you hit on it, I believe you should you should come out with a solution for the person. Maybe you must suggest certain things for the person to do, and then you make a follow-up. Maybe probably you have identified that the person was actually weak in that area, which will affect the organization. After talking to the person on that performance issue, you should let the person know the behavior, the effects that behavior will have on the organization's performance in general. Then you also come out with a solution for the person. Then you make a follow-up. As a leader, you have to follow up on the person and make sure that finally the person has gotten back to whatever you expected the person to do. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Naza, for this insight. Yes. So it's the approach. We're learning about the approach. We're learning that we sort of like do a sandwich where we talk about the strength, the positive side, and then we now draw attention to the area of concern, and then we sort of close with another encouragement. Very good. Let me call on Galaxy J12. If you are on the line, we'd like to have your thoughts on this issue. Galaxy J2. Okay, so whilst we try to get Galaxy J2 on, let me hear from Festus, Mr. Festus.
Yeah, Mr. Hussein.
Yes, Mr. Festus, good evening.
Yeah, I was on and off. I was getting back when Mr. Kudeni was winding. I couldn't get the line of argument. Actually, it's very difficult to follow what is going on.
Okay, all right. Okay. So currently, we are looking at how do we share concerns about performance issues? How do we, communicate to the staff that they can be able to know their area of strength, their area of weakness, and how they can it can be resolved? Yes. So I have quite a number of contributions. One is after noting the area of concern, we also have to come out with solutions to that. Yeah. Let me find out from Opoku Richard. Yes. Okay, Hannah, your hand is up. Yes. So can you unmute yourself? Yes. Yeah, please go ahead, Hannah.
Nazi said, when you want to address the concern on performance. Hello?
Yes, please. Please go ahead.
I said it should be individual first. It shouldn't be in group want to address concerns concerning performance issues, because sometimes you see that the person has really performed poorly. So depending on how you go about it, you can embarrass the person, and the person may not even take any task from you again, or may not be willing. So that's my idea or my suggestion.
Thank you, Hannah, for the context or the situation. We approach it privately, if I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for that very important point. Yes. Okay. Yes. All right. So would like to move to this very important part of the discussion. Like, what are some of the different ways we can use to help employees grow professionally? The professional growth in the organization. Sharif, if you are there, I'd like you to start with this particular discussion topic on the professional growth. Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening.
Yes,
Did you mention my name?
Yes, please.
Sharif. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Thanks. I'm sorry for joining in late. I was having some issues. All right. With regards to and then thanks for everyone who has contributed so far. With regards to the question that you've posed, one of the ways by which I think we can help individuals grow professionally is when we try to, for instance, identify their weaknesses and strengths, as some people have already talked about. And then after having been able to identify it, we can more or less compose teams by pairing somebody who has a weaker strength with another person who has maybe a stronger one. And that is one thing I particularly like doing. If, for instance, I am in relating to, say, the performance issues, if I see that we are not achieving, and then I have to more or less reshuffle the team. So I do that quickly and then change the various combinations we have to see whether the result is going to be better. So by so doing, you help those who have not been able to acquire certain kind of skills, okay, learn from their colleagues who have better ways of doing it or have superior knowledge and skills. The other way by which we can also help individuals grow is to institute certain kind of educational or capacity, what we call capacity building. We try as much as possible to discuss pertinent issues, skills, knowledge that will more or less help individuals to grow within the team or the organization. And so these are basically two things that have come about. I think it helps. Thank you. All right.
Thank you so much, Shari, for those insights and then contribution. Yeah. Let me hear from Roger. Yeah, Roger, if you could unmute your mic, I'd like to have your thoughts on professional, growth. Yes, Roger. Okay. All right. So Hannah, I think your hand is up. Hannah, your hand is up. If you could, I think you want to make a contribution on professional growth. Okay.
Okay, to help your employees professionally, you need to encourage them for them to upgrade themselves through education and then also through in-service training. You can help your employees to grow professionally.
Okay, so in-service trainings. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, Naza, I see your hand up. Okay. Galaxy A20. Yes, Galaxy A27.
Yeah, this is
Yes.
Benedict. Benedict, I joined in late. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yes, Benedict. Yes. Let's have your thoughts.
Yeah. So just as just as my colleagues have said, for my department recently, I realized that we had problems. Some of the midwives couldn't help when we have difficult delivery, so we had to organize something like a hands-on training as to how they could manage difficult deliveries, and it was quite interesting. A lot of the midwives were happy, and we're even saying that, oh, we need to continue with this. So, like they said, a couple of things you can do: the workshops, the seminars. Sometimes you can have an hands-on training. Then even through clinical meetings. For my department, for example, we have clinical meetings like about twice in a month. So those opportunities you give to the staff for them to come up with some topics and present. So these are all ways of trying to let them grow professionally, in addition to what my other colleagues have mentioned.
Thank you so much, Benedict, for those insights. Yeah, let me have Festus' thought on this. Yeah, Festus. First, kindly unmute your mic and let's have your thought on the professional growth. Yeah, then I'll come to Patience. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Hussein. Yeah. I very much agree with the concept of in-service training. You know, with in-service training, we can carve issues to match job-specific and task-specific activities. In those, when we introduce such things in our workplaces, we're able to train staff to meet a specific demand. You know, then one way I think Sheriff made this point about people with stronger abilities, with others with relatively weaker ones. You know, when we do that thing, my opinion is that usually we should put staff whom we feel we want to train and build capacity in certain areas ahead, whilst we stand back and support them. You know, most of our staff have so many skills, but usually they want to take back better. I observed working in various teams. Joining my hospital, I realized that some people always want to stay back and watch you. But when you push them to the wall, give them the task, them from behind, you are made what they're able to do. When off, then you put them back code one. I think we should do it this way. That's how I dealt with most of my colleagues on various assignments we were given. So apart from the in-service training, which is very helping because you're able to carve staff to match the work-day specific task. Usually we should put them in front whilst we support them from behind and direct them as to how to go. In that case, you're able to align their skills and their ability to match what you want. And when they are lacking, we help them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Festus, for that insight. Yeah. Patience. Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, Patience.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Festus, for that. Patience, your hand was up. Yes. Yes. Yeah, Patience, go ahead.
And the ways to help employees grow professionally. So as some of the participants have mentioned earlier about clinical, I believe it's one of the ways that help us grow individually as professionals in our various teams. Because during clinical meetings, we end up talking about topics that some of us might not have, heard of, evidence-based treatment protocols that is being used. And so we end up learning a lot from these clinical meetings. Those who know already end up learning more, and then those who don't know at all
also gain something to add to their toolboxes. And so clinical meetings, and then even with that, I think pairing or maybe working in teams, let me put it that way. So let's say in a setting or in a department, when you try to pair the workers or the employees, and in pairing, you pair, let's say you look at someone's strength and then you look at someone who is also not good in that particular aspect, and then you pair them. So the one that is not so good ends up learning from the one that is good. And so at the end of the day, you realize that everybody is growing. So the one that is good, or the one who has more strength in that particular field, ends up teaching the one who is not good. And the more you teach, the more you also learn. And so teaching the person will help the person grow, and then you yourself, you become better in that field also. So working in teams, pairing up, and then some of these clinical meetings tend to help employees.
Thank you so much, Patience, for that contribution. I think that was very important. Yeah, cross-matching the staff so that each one is learning from the other, and then the more they teach, the more they learn. Okay, I'd like to hear Opoku Richard. Yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts on professional growth. Yeah, Opoku Richard, if you could unmute your mic. Yeah. Yeah, Richard, then I'll come to Reverend on the professional growth. Yes.
Hello, Peter.
Yeah,
yes.
hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Can I share my thoughts?
Yes. Quick.
Okay.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so for me, talking about professional growth, I think it's good we look at the other side way, but I also think that mostly what some of the managers, or let me say leaders in various institutions does, which is not in a helping hand, is not allowing or giving the employees chance to maybe further their education or something like that. Because sometimes we are all in Ghana, and sometimes like you get the opportunity to go to maybe to get to a place to go and study, but the procedure that you pass through actually can even bring the employee down, as in the person having the interest of going to do that. So I think as leaders and managers in various institutions, we should take that one very, very serious and try to address that issue. If the person is having a specific kind of skills that is very, very unique, at least if you have the chance of going somewhere or like able to further his or her education to get more skills and knowledge about concerning some work-related issue, we should not have that mindset of if the person is going and when he finished it, maybe he's not coming back, or maybe he's coming to be like some extraordinary person. Sometimes we all have to push our employees to go the other mile to get more issue, for us to get more results achieved in a specific manner. So for me, I think that managers or leaders should give their employees sometimes they sometimes even have to even motivate them. I heard this is a conference coming on. I think you'll be in a good person to be in this kind of conference, attend this seminar and other stuff. At least all this, the person would employee will think that, oh, seriously, the managers or my leader really think about me. So when he's even doing everything in his situation, he gives us his best, and it's increased the productivity of the company or the organization. Thank you very much. That's my thoughts.
Thank you, Richard, for this contribution. Yes, very important. Yes, Reverend, please.
Yes. They have said it all, but I want to touch on an aspect which is normally overlooked.
Okay.
Sometimes people have their personal problems, their domestic problems, and they are not able to detach that from the professional conduct or professional work. So whilst looking at their professional development, we need to have concern for their personal and domestic problems as well. And when you are able to touch on them, on those aspects, you see that they will perform professionally. Okay. I know a certain lady who used to be smiling, have good customer care, and all of a sudden, she turned cold attitude towards almost everybody, including patients. So when I got closer to her, I realized she had some serious challenges, and after helping her through, I mean, she got back, and it's now performing. It's now performing. So I believe whilst looking at their professional development, if we can also touch on their domestic challenges, they will be able to grow professionally. So this is in addition to all the other contributions that have gone on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend, for those very important contributions. Yeah. So I'd like to see just one or two insights on how do we now, how well do we, apply these concepts or practices in a, cultural setting here in Ghana, particularly. How do we balance and then apply these, stuff that we've learned in our cultural setting? Yeah. I'd like to have your thoughts on that. Okay. Let me call on Tosa Mauli. Yes, Mauli, if you could unmute your mic and let's have your thoughts on that. How do we now apply, all these concepts to our cultural setting? How do we balance between the two? Yeah, Mauli, if you could unmute your mic. Hello, Mauli. Okay. All right, so let me go to Comfort as Mauli tries to come on board. Yeah. Hello, Comfort. Yeah, I think Mauli, can you hear me now?
Yeah, what's the question again?
Yes. Yeah. We're trying to see how well do concept and then practice. The concept and the practices in this unit, or that on the supervision and then delegation, apply to our cultural setting. Yes. Yes, Mauli. Okay, we seem to have lost Mauli on that. Yeah. Yeah, Comfort, if you could take that, give us insight into that. Hello, Comfort.
Mr. Walker, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Yes.
I have really learned a lot about this supervision and then delegating.
Yes.
By applying the concepts and the practices, you have to be, before you do all things, you have to be a good listener.
A good listener.
If you are not a good listener, yes, and you don't put other people's matter as your matter, I don't think you can make a difference with those tasks because they have to voice out. You have to hear them. They will share their experiences. They will participate in the decision making. And you, the supervisor, you have to down, analyze certain things, and then you put into practice, thereby building trust. All of us know that before you can build a trust, there must be a good relationship among the team. If there is a good relationship among you, I don't think you can build your trust. And then building trust will help you develop your team by being. Thank you.
Thank you. So, good listening skills are very important in the application of these practices to our cultural setting. Yeah, that's very important. Okay, yeah. This is very important. Will I take one more thought on this subject, and then we'll move to our last discussion area. Okay. Let me call on Mansoura. Hello, Mansoura. Hello, Mansoura. Okay. Yeah. Mr. Kudi, if you can you share with us something as far as the application of the concept?
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yes.
I would like to take this key thing you have highlighted, cultural setting.
Yeah.
We are all in Ghana, and I think we know our cultural setting. And we are talking about supervision, we are talking about delegating, we are talking about performance, evaluation of a cultural setting, whereby if a leader wants to ensure that the right thing is done, the leader is being tagged. Sometimes he's been attacked by so many ways. So sometimes it is very difficult in some of our institutions and in our workplaces to make sure the right thing is done as a leader because of the cultural setting, because everybody wants to have his or her way out. But over the years, one thing I've got to realize is this, especially where I attended my senior high school, that is St. James.
Yeah.
The rules there were so straight, supervision were so straight, and all those kind of things. And we called our Reverend Fathers so many names, we gave them nicknames, we insulted them. But after we came out of school, we now got to realize that truly these people were helping us. So what I want to arrive at is this. If you are a leader and you are leading a group of people, you have a vision, you have an end to achieve. Don't allow the cultural setting to interrupt where you are going. No matter what people say or what people do, still stand firm, still stand strong, and work towards the end. At the end of the day, the same people who are fighting you because of our cultural setting will appreciate you one day. Because I've met a lot of my past students as a health tutor who will say, sir, you were helping us a lot. Now that we have gotten to the clinics, we now understand why you were insisting on discipline and all these kind of things. They now appreciate what you did. But when they were under your leadership, there were a lot of insult and all those kind of things. So what I want to advise is that as a leader, as a supervisor, our culture setting will pour insult on you. Our culture setting will tag you with names and all those kind of stuff. But be firm, be strong.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kudeni, for that insight. Yeah. Okay. I'd like to move to our last discussion area, which is the conflict management. Okay. We are to review the 5 modes of conflict management, and I've showed the 5 modes here. Now, the key question is, did any of the 5 modes for conflict management resonate with us? Which of the modes resonates, or resonated more with us? Or which one do we use majority of the time? Yes. Yes.
And yet, to us a consult, say you be the Motia,
Anna, please, if you could unmute mute your mic. Yeah, there is a little.
Mute your mics.
Okay. So, as a discussion starter, okay, let me go to Mr. Santi. Yeah. To like start this discussion with us, which of the any of the 5 modes of conflict management, which one resolutes more, and then which one do we normally use most of the time? Yes.
I'd like to believe my approach has been the accommodating type, where I like, for the most part, I mean, I want what is best for the person. So we sit down and discuss which way is best for you. So then you feel that your concerns matter, most part. But sometimes I'm told I'm a bit pushy. So I think sometimes it depends on the situation I find myself. But for the most part, it's more the accommodating type that I tend to work with.
Okay. Which is having more concerns for others.
Yes.
That's okay. Thank you so much. Yeah. I'd like to have any other contribution as far as the approaches are concerned, and then why we adopt those approach strategies. Okay, let me call on Masura. Yeah, Masura, if you could unmute, let's have your thought as far as the modes of conflict management is concerned. Okay, then I'll come to Kofi. Hello, Masura. Okay, I think we are not getting Masura now. Kofi, if you could share your thoughts as far as the modes of conflict management is concerned. Yes.
Okay. My concern should be to agree with the accommodating approach, because hello.
Yes, please. Please go ahead.
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
I'm saying that I will go with the accommodating approach, because our environment is such that you cannot discriminate. So you have to welcome each and everyone, because we are also having coming from different backgrounds. So
our views may always matter in whatever is happening. But one thing that I usually love most is to incorporate a little bit of counseling, because some of the incidents are attitudinal. Attitudinal in the sense that it may mean, or based on where the person was brought up, the environment in which the person grew up from. So many characteristics have gone into the person's upbringing. So some kind of counseling may also have a different effect on the person as to the environment in which he or she find himself.
Okay.
So these are some of the approaches that I would love, but I will go with the accommodating style.
Great.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, Kingsley. Yeah. If you could share your approach with us. Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Yes. You're online. Yes.
Yeah. Well, basically, managing the conflict, it largely depends on the environment.
Okay.
Because if you're in an environment where probably where the accommodating might not work or the avoiding might not work, but you realize that in a more competitive environment, that one will be great for the team. So it depends largely on the environment that you are to choose the right tool or the right key to manage the conflict. But generally, I will go for the compromising, because eventually you all meet at the middle ground. That is when they say it's a win-win situation, and nobody lose, nobody win. But we meet in the middle ground and we find the best way we can all work together. But what I believe with a competitive, it helps if the environment is conducive for it. It really helps that, okay, we will put up a competition to it. If we're looking at who is going to be the best out of it, then eventually it becomes, that is what most people say when it comes to conflict, that people just ignore it. But when you embrace it with being competitive, it really brings the team together. It brings the team on board, and you push from there, and you resolve the conflict at hand.
Okay. So depending on the situation, you would determine the approach or the style to use. But you prefer more of a compromising.
Yeah, compromising and the competitive.
Competitive. Okay. Yeah. Let's have Sharif's thought on this. Yeah. Sharif, do you like to know your approaches you use and why? How those approaches work? How it helps you in the management of conflict? Yes.
Thank you.
And I'll come to
Brother Hussein.
Yes.
I personally have had a difficult time trying to understand what the conflict really means, whether it means just mere arguments or differences in opinion with regards to issues or differences in ways of dealing with things. But I believe they all fall under the same thing. Okay. That's one of the lectures we'll talk about. It's how you look at it. But as far as how I manage conflict is concerned, I believe I have used more than one of the various approaches that you are showing on your slide, from accommodating to compromising to collaborating. I personally don't like too much of competitions because people tend to see competitions in a different way, and when competition is so rife, you have other individuals or the players trying to more or less undermine their competitor in order to win, more or less, because competition is all about winning. So with regards to the way I manage issues, I normally would usually encourage differences in opinion. So I usually will tell my subordinates when we are discussing, I say, advance your argument. And then they will come like, I'm not arguing. I'm not saying you are arguing. You are not quarreling. But a difference in opinion that you advance is an argument. So an argument must be seen as that. So I rather encourage that kind of a debate where at the end of the day, we all come to a common ground, as the brother who just talked about said. We'll come to a common ground and then look at the best way of handling the situation. A good part of the time, of course, we are accommodated. But I believe that even after accommodating, we should be able to more or less share different sides of the opinion and then come to a more like a consensus as to how we are going to go about it. So I find myself combining the very first way in different forms depending on the situation that I am dealing with. So basically, that is what I think I will say today.
Thank you so much for that contribution. Yeah, Kingsford. Yeah, would like to have your thought on your approach and then why. Yes, Kingsford, if you could unmute. Okay.
Hello, Mr. Hussein.
Yes, please go ahead. Then I'll come to Mr. Kudini on the fourth question.
Yeah. I was trying to stay connected, so I couldn't hear them better. But then, yeah, so with the subject and the case, yes, I am on. Can I be heard?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So thank you for the opportunity. And then I struggled to stay connected, so I couldn't quite hear what they said. But I personally I do employ different approaches in relation to different situations.
Okay.
So personally, mostly what resonates very well with me, I like to collaborate. I like to engage in healthy debate so that mostly I advance my argument, you advance your argument, so that mutually we see how best we can all win, so that we improve situations and standards. So mostly I employ the collaborative approach. But then when I realized that the collaborative approach, in an attempt to advance all our interests, in an attempt to do that, when I realized that it's not working, I will tend to compromise. We meet in the middle ground so that none of us wins, none of us loses. So mostly I also do adopt that when the collaborative approach doesn't work. And then if this one doesn't help, sometimes I tend to accommodate. Mostly in certain situations, I will have to accommodate just
okay.
Peace and harmony and to enhance relationship building. So I am most in the collaborative approach.
Thank you so much, Kingsford, for that contribution. Yeah. Mr. Kudeni, would like to have your thought on the fourth question, which is different style, different approach. How do you engage in that? And why? Yeah, Mr. Kudeni, if you are on the line. Okay, I think we have a little challenge with getting Mr. Kudini. Yeah, but I'd like to have a reverence thought on the fourth question. Different style, different people. How does that? How do we balance it? Yes, Reverend.
Yeah, thank you. sometimes you look at what people's perceptions are on certain issues. You realize you more successful with one approach. For instance, I handled an issue recently. People fighting over went with them to the land. Look at the demarcation. And when I came back, the
Right,
one
kindly
who
position yourself a little bit. I think your line is breaking a little bit. If you could
okay,
position yourself.
yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Just that we have a little reverberations in the sound, but I think it's clear.
Yes. I was using a case I handled recently over a piece of land. They have fought over this piece of land for about 7 years. I went with them to the farm to look at the demarcations. And when I came back with them, I just told the one who was insisting that it is his, that if you gift this part out to your nephew, what happens? And at a point in time, they came to a compromise that, well, she is willingly giving it out to the nephew, and that solved the problem. But certain times, if you realize they cannot see an eye with each other with this, then you try to find the best way. If it is accommodating, if it is collaborating, you use that to at least help solve the situation. Otherwise, if you tend to use one style all the time, you realize it doesn't work in all situations. Yeah, so yeah, look at the persons involved, look at their perception to issues, where they are coming from, and then use what will be best solve the problem. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend, for that insight. Here, Benedict, yes, please, your hand is up. Okay.
Okay, so in terms of the question 4, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so it depends on the type of conflict you are dealing with, be it a tax-related conflict or personality or relationship conflict. So if it's a tax-related, you know that it's definitely going to affect the work that you are doing. So you need to be more kind of confrontational in terms of tackling it head on. So you may do collaborative or compromising if it will help. But if the issue is more about a personality something or a relationship related conflict, sometimes you may have to do the avoiding. You try to stay back a bit and see how they will sort themselves out. Unless you realize that it's really affecting the work, then you switch to either the competitive or collaborative or accommodative, depending on the situation. But usually, once you know the type of conflict you are dealing with, then the people involved, as well as their temperament and all that, then it will help you be able to decide which of the styles will be beneficial at that moment. So that's the way I look at it. Because if you come to my department, for example, there are a lot of women there, and you know, women have a lot of emotional issues. So sometimes it's best you try and stay back. Then that's more like avoiding. Then if you realize that no, this thing is going on too far, affecting the work, then as a leader, you come in to try and meet them, you know, halfway, find out what is really happening. Then you talk to them, whatever issues or experiences you have, you bring it on board. Then you resolve the matter then the work can go on. So that is what I think.
Thank you so much, Benedict, on this input. Yes, I think we're going to pick just one each on these points, then we'll close because we've hit the 6 o'clock mark. Okay, so this is a case on in a story getting thrown under the bus. She heard a story about Ngoni and his supervisor who blamed him for late report. The discussion topic here is: have you ever been thrown under the bus by a co-worker or manager? Have we been in a situation like that? And if you confronted the person, what approach did you take in confronting another colleague? And then what went well and what could have been improved? And then also, how well do the concepts and then the practice apply to our cultural setting? Okay, so this is what we want to quickly, tackle. So I'd like to have, like two experiences that will be shared, and then we can be able to draw the curtain to today's site meeting. Yes. Okay, so anyone that can start the discussion rolling, or I'll call on, let me call on Kingsley. Yes. Yeah, Mr. Kingsley, if you could share your experience as far as this case is concerned.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, the first thing that came to mind was, if you get thrown under the bus will pass on you. But if you are in the right, eventually it happens that if you are in the right, then you have to defend yourself. And sometimes when you defend yourself, it might turn out, if the case is not true, it might be that your superior is probably lying about you. And when it happens that way too, it will be like you are in front of his superiors, and you are saying that he's not doing his work well. So you find ways and means where you can present your case that it wouldn't be as you are undermining your superior, but you find ways and means that you defend yourself and let everybody know what's the real issue on the ground is. I think that will be the best approach that I would take.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, let me call on Cynthia. Yeah. Cynthia, if you could share your experience as far as this case is concerned with us. Yes.
Hello?
Yes, Cynthia, please go ahead. Yes, please go ahead. Hello, Cynthia, we can hear you.
Hello, Hussein.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So for me, basically, I would call you aside and then speak to you, tell you that I wasn't happy with whatever happened. And then that's it. I think it's been helpful with, it also depends on the person who is involved. But I think it's been helpful so far, yes.
All right, thank you so much. Yes, on those two contributions. Because of the time, we would like to draw the curtain so that we don't drag the discussion so much. On this note, we would like to thank each and every one for participating in it. The last one we were supposed to do was application in our cultural setting, but I think with the two experiences that have been shared, I think we could take it like that, unless someone, another person have another perspective which we would like to quickly share. Because do we have any perspective apart from the two perspectives that Cynthia and Kingsley shared? Okay. All right. So we'd like to thank you so much for participating in today's site meeting. It's been very insightful. There have been quite a number of practical experiences and the lessons that have been learned from the discussions that we've had so far. And we would like to go out there in our various places of engagement and then apply the concept in such a way that will create a positive change. So we'd like to thank you once again for coming. What we'd like to say in the form of announcement is when we normally put on the page to get feedback as far as how we are offering with respect to the assignment. So we'd like to encourage those that have to give responses, particularly those that have been able to do the assignment to show by hand. Then we can be able to know those that will have to approach and then support them to be able to complete the assignment. So that is one thing which we wanted to do. And then also with the models that are left, would like to, the other time we posted on the page to have a sort of like a panel, discussion so that we could get it to be a little bit more, engaging. I don't know, what do you think about that approach? So I could have at least like 3 people that contribute a panel, and then they would deliberate on the model, and then other participants can, bring their question contributions or, suggestions to drive the discussion. What do you think? What do you think about that approach? We'd like to have your thought on that. Then we can close today's meeting. Yes. Any? Yeah, Reverend. Would you like to? Yes.
Yes. I think we can try that and see how it goes. If it doesn't work well, then we revert back to what we are doing. But I believe it is a very good thing to try. So that the others, if they want to ask questions or contribute, they can raise their hands.
Yes.
Allow them to. Yeah.
So what I'd like to suggest is for those, now we've done model 1 to 4. So we could try with the model 5 and 6, and then the subsequent ones. So any of the models, would like to encourage participants to indicate the models that they would like to, anchor. Then we could, make that arrangement, and then they will be, prepare and then anchor those discussions. Yes. So just like you mentioned, would like to know if anyone have another suggestions as far as the panel, discussions are concerned. Yes. Any other suggestions? Okay. All right. So what we tend to do is to we'll try that one next week again, and then we're going to put at least congregate like 3 people that is going to constitute a panel, and then they would share their insights as far as the model 5 and then 6 is concerned, and then we'll take it from there. Yes. once again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming. And then, Reverend, please give us a closing prayer.
I want to thank you this evening and for what you've done for us. I want to thank you for all that we've learned, our experiences shared. We pray that you'll be able to use the lessons learned effectively so that we will promote the service. Continue to guide us, continue to bless us. And now may the peace of God, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit be with us all, now and forever. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Reverend. Yes. And then we'd like to wish everyone a very good evening. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you and bye-bye too.
All right.